It's time for some more touring car action. Welcome back to the TRAC World Touring Car Championship. My name's Tom and we're here for round number 2 of the season. We are at Hockenheim on the national circuit for the second round of the championship. We have 3 more races coming to you from this fantastic circuit. Before we go racing, let's take a quick look at the championship. Leading the way is the Honda of Active on 137 points. Stug in second with Kraus third. Sabine is on 131 with Woody 3 points further back. Rounding out the top 6 is TRAC Vicious in the Honda on 127. In order to keep the racing close, there are success penalties for the drivers in 9th through 1st. So Mish, Mad Dingo and Griffiths are going to have a 5% grip loss to the rear. Sabine, Woody and Vicious are going to have a 5% grip loss to the front of their cars. And Actim, Stug and Kraus are going to have a 5% loss all over. Now let's take a look at this soggy Hockenheim on board the Chevrolet of W810 Tom. So across the start-finish line to start our lap here at Hockenheim, we're on the national circuit and it is pouring down. Heading in towards turn number 1, it's really easy for the car to wash out wide towards the exit of this first corner, bobble off on the curb and end up in the barrier on the inside or the outside. It's really important to spot your braking points into this corner, especially in these conditions. It's really slippery, so it's really easy to run out wide. Make sure you hit that curb on the inside, get the nose turned in, and then use all the curb to try and keep the car as straight as possible as you head onto the back straight. Unlike on the full circuit, we're not going to follow this round in a gentle curve. We're about to straighten up, we're about to head into a double right-hander to bring us back towards the Mercedes Stadium. Again, it's really easy to run way too deep into this corner. That gravel trap and that wall is extremely close. Short shift through here to kill the wheel spin, and then we're heading back onto the main circuit. This is the Mercedes grandstand, a little bit slower heading into this corner than normally, but the apex and the exit are just as important. Bring the car right over to the left-hand side before hammering the curb on the right, and then using as much of the road on the exit as you can. The important part in the wet is to try and keep the car as straight as possible and try and minimise the wheel spin. That's why you're feathering the throttle, using as much curb on the way into that corner and using a little bit on the way out. Now we're heading towards the final complex. Brake a little bit earlier and get the nose turned in. You don't want to run too wide. Again, short shift to try and kill that wheel spin. Otherwise, in the front wheel drive cars, it will drag you straight to the outside of the track. The final corners are the easiest ones to get wrong, but they are the most rewarding to complete a lap. Keep it nice and tidy, use the curb if you have to, try your best to keep it flat as you head out of this final corner across the line to complete a lap of Hockenheim. Before we go racing, we need to take a quick look at the grid, so here's how they're going to line up for race number 1. So a wet qualifying session did shuffle the order a little bit. On pole position is W810 Tom in the Chevrolet with Newcomer Nightmare in the Audi S3 in second. Row 2 is TRAC Joey and Griffiths Maximus in the second Chevrolet. Row 3 is Mad Dingo and TRAC Sabine. Row 4 is TRAC Vicious in 7th, Kraus in 8th in the second of the Demon Tweaks cars. Stug and Newcomer TKR Point Blank in P10. Championship leader Actim is going to go off P11 with Woody on P12. ORB Danzilla in 13th and Big Ol' Mish rounds out the 7-row field. And in the grid for race number 1. It's absolutely pouring down here. The lights go red. Revs rise. Out they go. Good start there from the Chevrolet off the front row. Joey's got a good start in the RS3. He's going to go right down the middle of the bridge. The Carsprung Chevrolet is going to lead heading in towards turn number 1. Joey's going to lock into second place. That looks like Griffiths has got himself into third in the Demon Tweed Chevrolet. So the Chevrolet so far having a decent start here. Chevrolet apparently is the favoured car in the wet. That slightly longer wheelbase maybe paying dividends for these guys. But heading through turn number 2 for the first time, it's Chevrolet 1, RS3 2, Chevrolet 3, and then the S3 of Nightmare off the front row in P4. Looks like Dingo's got himself into 5th position as they head down towards the double right-hander. The hairpin break in for for the first time. Joey's locked right into the back of Griffiths. Griffiths has got himself up into second place. So it's now a Chevrolet 1-2. Carsprung from Demon Tweaks with a Tech Pro RS3 in 3rd place. Joey's not going to want to sit there for too long, but he looks like he's got a little bit of pressure now from Nightmare behind. Correction, Nightmare has pressure from Dingo behind. On board with Joey now as he head towards the Xbox One bridge. He's got past Griffiths there. Griffiths ran a little bit wide. So easy to get the car a little bit too wide in these opening laps, especially in these conditions with the standing water out there. Griffiths though having a crack now, trying to go around the outside of Joey. Nightmare's lost the position behind to Dingo. So Dingo in the Mercedes is up into 4th place. Good start from him from a little bit further back on the grid. Nightmare though is falling down the order on his World Touring Car debut here. It's the first time we've seen him in this championship, and so far he is holding his own with the quicker boys, but he is starting to fall down the order a little bit. A little bit further on, we've got Tom. Tom's gone sideways there. Joey's probably going to have a run. This could be a move for the lead. So Joey and Tom, they've been building a little bit of a gap over Griffiths in third place. Joey's going side by side now with the Chevrolet, heading down towards the braking zone for the hairpin. He's just about got the legs on the Chevrolet. He's harder on the brakes. He throws it into that hairpin and he gets the car in front. Awesome move there from the 17 car. But Tom's going to have a crack, try and go around the outside of this hairpin. That's not a move that comes off. Switches back towards the inside. Just shows the nose, but doesn't quite have the Audi on the brakes. That RS3 is fantastic in the braking zones. The Chevrolets were good at Monza, but that RS3, couple of changes, and it seems like it's paid dividends for Joey there. So Actim now trying to fight his way through the order, but he is under pressure now from Woody behind. He's got Kraus in front of him. Championship leader not having as strong a showing as he'll have wanted. Remember, he does have that massive grip penalty, and in these conditions, that's definitely not what you want to have out there. You want as much grip as you can. But Actim, though, he's having a look down the inside of Kraus. Despite the penalties, he's still no slouch out there. He's right on the back of the Chevrolet. The Chevrolets have the pace to lead. We can see that with two of them in the top three. But Actim in that Honda is trying to make it work for him as best he can. Woody out of nowhere tries it around the outside. That was a bit of a late dive. Point blank in there as well, looking like he wants to get into this fight as well. Woody's shown the nose on the inside. Actim's going to run a little bit wide. Woody's run even wider though. The Mercedes is off on the grass. That's going to allow Point Blank to come through and get the Honda's nose to tail now. So Actim, Kraus and Point Blank heading in towards the braking zone of the hairpin. On board with Kraus as we head towards the hairpin at the Mercedes grandstand. He's got Actim behind. He's got huge pressure from the pair of Hondas now behind. Point Blank's close right up onto the back of Actim. Those cars running similar liveries. They look absolutely awesome, but I've got to say I prefer the grey to the yellow, but it looks like the red is clearly faster out there. Point Blank gets in front of championship leader. First time we've seen him in the World Touring Car Championship, and he's just overtaken the championship leader. So awesome driving to start off for TKR Point Blank. But Actim is falling down the order. That grip penalty's really not helping him out there. At Point Blank on Kraus now as they head towards the final couple of corners. Point Blank and the unrestricted Honda is trying to have a move on that restricted Chevrolet. The guys with the restrictions really aren't faring too well. Joey's doing quite well towards the front of the field, but he's behind him. He does have a pair of unrestricted Chevrolets. Kraus, though, has Point Blank bearing down on him at point blank range, heading towards turn number one. The Chevrolet bobbles over the curb. That's going to allow the Honda to head down the inside towards turn number two, and the move's done already. The 146 Honda is in front of the Demon Tweak Chevrolet, so decent driving there from Point Blank to get him up at A position. Next target for him is going to be the Be Wiser Chevrolet of Stug in front. So decent driving from Point Blank to get himself up the order quick early on. Actim, though, looks like he's about to try and have a crack on Kraus. He's going to go around the outside of this long left-hander. That's going to become the inside for the late braking hairpin. Woody's going to chuck it down the inside as well in the black and silver Mercedes. New livery for Woody this weekend, and it looks absolutely awesome out there. But Woody's up in position on Kraus. Kraus is down two. Actim and Woody have both got through. So awesome driving from those. Back towards the front of the field, though. Griffiths has a little bit of pressure now from Nightmare, and that looks like Danzilla behind him as well. So Griffiths in P3. That position is definitely not set in stone. You see Dingo's a little bit further off this fight. Danzilla off the back row of the grid. He drove through to win in race 3 at Monza. Will he be able to drive through and win this time? But he's gone really deep into that hairpin. That's going to allow Dingo to get back through. It's allowed Nightmare a little bit of breathing room. So instead of looking in his mirrors, he's now going to be looking square at the back of the Chevrolet of Griffiths for third place. On board with the Audi, hunting down the Chevrolet as they head towards the stadium section for the third time of asking. The Audi locked in the slipstream of that Chevrolet. You've got to think the spray is going to be pounding the windscreen of that S3. The Chevrolet runs a little bit wide though by the looks of it. That might just about give Nightmare enough to try and throw it down the inside of this long hairpin. He thinks about it. The Chevrolet runs a little bit wider, taking a bit of a karting line through there, so looking for the wet line. So Danzilla now versus Stug, heading down into the late braking. Danzilla really late on the brakes to the 21 car. This is how he managed to claw his way through the field at Monza to get that victory. He just holds the position in front of Stug, so good overtaking manoeuvre there from Danzilla in the Chevrolet. And that's going to put Stug into Kraus now, so the two Chevrolets are going to be going at it. Actim's not too far away, so he might get into this battle. But look how quickly that Mercedes is cleared off in the distance. So Danzilla clearly has that Mercedes working for him at this point. Maybe a little bit of a setup change. While in front, we've got Dingo, Griffiths, and Nightmare going at it. So Dingo's managed to get past Nightmare for 4th place. It's now his turn to try and have a crack at the Chevrolet in front. But Nightmare, though, having a crack, try and get past Dingo to try and retake that 4th position. But that's just allowing Griffiths to clear off in the distance. At the front, though, Joey and Tom still pulling away from this battle gap, up to around about 3 or 4 seconds at this point. Heading through the final corner, Dingo a little bit wider than the Audis you head through. There's the leaders first, second, there's third, 4th and 5th are side by side heading towards turn number 1. The S3 versus the A-Class. The S3 of Nightmare heads through down the inside, the pair and wide. Track limits may be a little bit of a factor around here if they're not too careful, but the S3 has managed to get past Dingo and take up 4th position. These two need to try and close up to Griffiths if they want to try and have a shot at a podium. They need to stop fighting each other. But Dingo's coming back around the outside as they head down the back straight. But the S3 just about has the legs on, and be careful, Danzilla might get into this fight as well. It's just a fight over 4th place. 5th is just behind. 6th in Danzilla is bearing down on them. The S3 goes way deep into that corner. That might allow Dingo to get the cut back and maybe have a crack around the outside of this hairpin in front of the Mercedes-Benz chicane. This would be a perfect place for him to make the move in a Mercedes-Benz, but he's not quite got it done. At the front, though, it's Joey who's just about brought up a little bit of a gap to take a relatively comfortable win in touring car terms. As you head through the final couple of corners, it's not all done until you've crossed the finish line and seen the checker flag. But coming down the main straight to take his 2nd win of the championship, 2nd win of the year, is TRAC Joey in 1st place. 2nd place is going to go the way of the Carspunk Chevrolet in 2nd of WA10 Tom. Full results here. TRAC Joey takes the win ahead of Tom in 2nd. Nightmare on his debut gets a podium. TKR Point Blank in 4th. Mandingo 5th. Griffiths fell down to 6th. The cameras didn't quite pick up where that happened. But ORB Danzilla in 7th from the back of the grid. 8th was Woody, Stug in 9th, Acting Championship leader down in 10th, Sabine in 11th, and Vicious rounds out the top 12. So as with last week, it's going to be a partial reverse grid for this one. The random number generator this time pulled out number 7. So Danzilla and Griffiths Maximus head onto the front row. We also have the grip penalties which reassign themselves to the top 9 in that race, so watch out for the guys behind pulling their way through. So ready to go for race number 2. Danzilla and Griffiths on the front row. Lights out, away we go. Point Blank gets a decent start there, but the Mercedes is shot off in the distance to kick off. So good start there from the Mercedes. Griffiths there in 2nd place. Tom's throwing it up. There's a little bit of a slide on. Tom's up to 4th place there with Point Blank running really wide. Looks like there's contact. The background, one of the cars has been spun round. But it's Danzilla who holds the early lead. Griffiths Maximus trying it around the outside and into the first braking zone. But Danzilla just about hangs on. Point Blank though looks like he's got himself up into 4th position. Potentially 3rd place on the Carspunk Chevrolet, not quite getting the power down. Stug's up there and Actim as well. So frenetic start already with a couple of cars span out towards turn number 1, heading down into the braking zone for the first time. Griffiths runs a little bit deep. The Chevrolets behind run a little bit deep as well. That's going to allow Point Blank down the inside potentially for 3rd place. Danzilla though is still secure in that lead. The Carspunk Chevrolet just about defends. Point Blank though down towards the inside as the Chevrolet runs a little bit wide. Will Point Blank get himself up into the podium places? Yes, he does. Next target now is going to be Griffiths Maximus and the 2nd Demon Tweak Chevrolet in front. Stug and Actim though are getting up this order pretty quickly. The Carspunk Chevrolet's really falling down the order. That car does not like the grip restrictions compared to some of the other guys. Remember, the likes of Actim have no ballast on at all, so Championship leader is running completely unrestricted. So expect him to get up towards the front of the field as well. Joey's got a bit of restriction on him as well, so he might fall down the order. Stug now is trying to get past that Carspunk Chevrolet for 4th position. Let's see what happened at the start. This is on board with Mish. He was running towards the back of the field. He throws it in towards turn number 1. Oh, Kraus has got himself sideways. Then Mish has given him a tap, and then Kraus has gone around. Not sure how that happened with Kraus. We're going on board with the Demon Tweet Chevrolet now, so let's see what happened. As we head in towards turn number 1, he sends it in, a little bit of contact with Actim. He just gets it over the curb and gets spat out towards the right-hand side. Back with the race though, we're looking at Stug versus Actim. These guys were battling towards the back end of race number 1. Actim though is round the inside of Stug, heading towards the braking zone of turn number 2. Actim's going to fancy a dive. You got Joey in there as well, so see Joey might come up the order as well, and you've got Vicious trying to get through as well. But these guys all being held up by that Carspunk Chevrolet in front. Look at the gap that the leaders have already. That Chevrolet's falling down the order. Danzilla first, Griffiths second. Point Blank looks like he's going for third, but Stug is going to have a move for fourth position on the inside of the Carspunk Chevrolet. He's got the move done already. A little bit of a bump. On board with Actim now, sitting in the draft of the 77 car, heading in towards the Mercedes-Benz grandstand. The Carspunk Chevrolet's not giving up just yet. But you've got to think that Actim's going to have this position running pretty much unrestricted. He just gets his nose in front of the Chevrolet. The Chevrolet has to yield, and that's Actim up into 5th position, and the Chevrolet down into 6th. Next target is going to be Joey behind. But looking at Point Blank and Griffiths, this is the fight over 2nd place. Point Blank on his first race of the season throws it over the curb. So he backs off a little bit as to avoid picking up a penalty, but that's going to bring Stug and Actim into this one as well. Griffiths just hanging on to 2nd place, but look at the lead that Danzilla has already. Danzilla and the Mercedes had a fantastic start. Stug, though, has himself into 3rd place against that Point Blank Honda. Actim, though, is going to have a crack at Point Blank now, but Stug has Griffiths in front of him in a 2nd Chevrolet, so it's Chevrolet versus Chevrolet, so they're going 2 by 2 down the back straight. Actim, though, looks like he's got in front of Point Blank in the Honda. Brakes a little bit later, just gets himself back in front, runs a little bit wide, just manages to hang on to the position in front of the championship leader. Lots of wheel spill from Griffiths and Stug in front. Point Blank still side by side with Actim. Oh, he's at the barriers, he's off and in the wall. Nice bit of parking there to keep himself out of the way. Let's see if we can see what happened there. We're going to go on board with Point Blank now, heading in towards the Mercedes-Benz grandstand, in towards the hairpin. We've got Actim out on the right-hand side of us. He's just turned in too early, clipped the barrier. He was lucky not to collect another car. Brilliant bit of parking, though, to get himself off the track. On board with Vicious in the Honda. He's got Joey around the outside. Contact between the pair of them forces Vicious to get off the power after being a little bit sideways. Joey's got a bit of a lead on us now. He's got Tom and he's got Woody trying to get past him as well. So Vicious falling down the order now as he's got the Carspunk Chevrolet and the retro Mercedes liveried A-Class heading in towards the hairpin. Woody's on the outside of the Carspunk Chevrolet with a little bit more grip. He might be able to pull that off. Nightmare is way down the order there as well. So the Audi's definitely faring a little bit worse than the Chevrolets with the success ballast. As he head through the final couple of corners, Vicious is right on the back of Joey now. That Honda looks fantastic through that back corner. He might be about to have a crack on our race 1 winner, heading towards the start-finish line, across the line and into turn number 1. The Honda just about thinks about it, doesn't quite get the run. Joey runs a little bit wider. The Chevrolet and the Mercedes behind are even wider than the Honda. Heading down into the braking zone of turn number 2. Will Vicious fancy a late dive? He goes for it from a long way back. That'll be brave if he can get that done. A little bit of contact between the pair of them. Doesn't come off. Actim and Stug now going at it. Actim's got a run on Stug on the inside of the long left-hander. That's going to give Stug the inside for the braking zone of the right-handers that we're coming up to now. Actim, though, is around the outside. He brakes a little bit late to the championship leader. Moves up another position. So Actim now behind Griffiths. In front of Stug. He's in a Chevrolet sandwich heading through the Mercedes-Benz grandstand. You've got to think Actim's going to be getting up towards the front of this field and maybe preserving his championship lead here. You see the Honda parked up towards the outside. Looks like we've got a little bit of contact there with Stug. Maybe a little bit of a lag spike there, but Actim is straight on the back of Griffiths in front of him. He's going to fancy a dive pretty early. He's not waiting to make this move. He's going for it straight away. So Actim now up into 2nd place. Just Danzilla in front of him for the win. He's got through the field this quickly. Will he be able to close that gap and get on the back of Danzilla? Maybe take a 2nd victory. It'll be the battle of the double-time winners. These guys both fighting for their 2nd wins. They both were a race in Monza. So across the line, Sabine, Misch and the recovering Kraus. This is the battle over 9th position. It's the final points in the top 10. Misch is down the inside of Sabine. Sabine and Misch have a decent run on Kraus there, but the Chevrolet just about has the legs on them. Misch down the inside of Sabine. Sabine comes back under braking. He's trying to round the outside of Kraus. Is Misch going to go down the inside of the pair of them here? Not quite. Kraus gets the drive. Sabine's down the inside of Misch in the yellow Mercedes. That RS3 is pretty quick in a straight line. It showed that in Monza. The Mercedes not faring too well around here today, even though this is pretty much a home track for the Mercedes, but the German Audis are faring that little bit better. Under braking, though, the Mercedes did get in front, and Sabine has to try and do it in front of the Mercedes-Benz grandstand. So the 42 yellow Mercedes in front of these 37 black, pink and white. Oh, there's contact between them. Sabine's punted him off. Sabine's waiting for him, going to allow Mish back on. Vicious versus Griffiths. Vicious has got himself up towards the sharp end of the field, and they're heading through the first corner. You've got Woody and Joey going at it as well. So two by two, they're firing down the back straight in towards turn number 2. Woody on the inside, Joey on the outside. Joey goes to the cutback. Will he get the power down on the Mercedes? Not quite. He has to slot in behind. This will give him the slipstream down the back straight in towards the braking for turns 4 and 5. That double left-hander hairpin, which will lead us back onto the main Grand Prix circuit. The Audi's really good on the brakes. Will he fancy a dive? Doesn't go for it. That Mercedes just pulled a little bit, but in front, Vicious has gone for a dive on Griffiths. So Vicious on the outside heading into the Mercedes-Benz Stadium section. Griffiths on the inside just about hangs on. A little bit of contact with the curbs, a little bit of contact with the barriers. We're going on board with Joey. He's got the box seat for this battle in front. Woody's going to try it around the outside of Vicious. Just runs him out of road a little bit. Vicious gives him the space on the outside. Very good racing between these guys. Very courteous racing as well. It's all staying clean so far. Vicious and Woody side by side heading into the stadium section. Vicious just loses out to one place. He's going to lose a second place. Woody's down the outside. Joey's on the inside. He's got 2 places in one corner. Awesome move from the RS3 driver. But will he fancy a dive into turn 1? No, he doesn't. Vicious, though, looks like he's going for it. Fantastic stuff, but that has allowed Griffiths to clear off in front. So Griffiths has a little bit of breathing room. Contact there between the Mercedes and the RS3. So the Mercedes tried to throw it down the inside of the final corner. Bit of an opportunistic move. That didn't come off. The Honda, though, has out-dragged the Mercedes down the main straight as he had to get out of the power. Onto the final lap, though. This is the fight for the lead. Tim's caught right up to Danzella. He goes around the outside of turn number 1. Doesn't quite get the drive out of it. Danzella, though, just hanging on to the win so far, heading in towards turn number 2, the braking zone. The Hondas are really strong here, but Actim's not going to throw a stupid move here. Danzella does drive a little bit of a defensive line down the back straight, though. This is probably going to be where Actim goes for the move into this double hairpin. He's been really strong into here. He'll get into the slipstream of the Mercedes. He'll try and pull up as close as he can, but Danzilla's been equally as strong into this corner. Late on the brakes for 21 car. He's just hanging on. He's going to, at this point, he's going to take his second win of the season. Right down board with Danzilla. With championship leader Acting behind. He's closing up under brakes a little bit, but it looks like he might have just about run out of time to try and make this move stick. Danzilla has a little bit of breathing room heading into the final sector of the lap. Just a handful of corners now for Danzilla to hang on to take his second win of the season. He'll be a second double winner, but who's it going to be? He runs a little bit wide. He's clipped the gravel. That's giving Actim the run. Actim has a look around the outside. There's no chance through there. He doesn't quite get it. Danzilla's held on. It looks like he might just have Actim covered. He might have an answer for the championship leader. Danzilla is just hanging on. Actim, though, is throwing everything at this Mercedes driver. It's going to be a drag race to the line between the pair of them, but it looks like it is going to be Danzilla who comes across the line to take his second win of the season. Just a couple attempts in it to Actim in second place. Awesome driving between the pair of them. Awesome to stay so clean between the lot of them there. Confirmation of the result. Danzilla wins ahead of TRAC. Actim in second. Stud finishes the podium in third place. Woody comes fourth. Griffiths in fifth. Then it's a TRAC. Then it's 3 TRAC cars of Vicious, Joey and Krause. 6, 7, 8. Sabine in 9th, Tom off the front row, finishes in P10, Big Ol' Mish in 11 after that contact at the start, and Nightmare finishes in 12th. So after all that, we have one final race to go. It's a full reverse grid, so it's going to be the reverse of what you see here. So Nightmare's going to start on pole with Mish in second, row 2 is W810 Tom and TRAC Sabine. So for the final time, we're down on the grid. Nightmare on pole, Mish on second, lights come on. Out they go, where we go. Good start from the Audi. Bad start for the Mercedes on the front. Looks like the Chevrolet is going to get up towards the top of the order. You've got 2 Chevrolets to push it together. That's Krause and that's Tom pushing together. Contact between the leaders. Mish is off. He's been spun around. Nightmare's got away with it. Somehow he managed to get away with that one. Nightmare leads this one away from W8 and Tom there in second. Look a little bit further back, that looks like Joey's got himself into third, so good start from the RS3. Just past Sabine, his teammate with one of the Demon Tweaks, both the Demon Tweaks cars up the order as well now, challenging Sabine for 4th place. Vicious is in there as well, acting right at the back of the grid. But the big story there is that Mish got spun around off pole position straight away. Not quite sure what happened there, but teammates are getting into each other. Sabine on Joey. Joey goes sideways. That's allowed both of the Demon Tweaks cars through. That's allowed Kraus through, and it's allowed Griffiths through. Griffiths is off wide towards the exit after contact with Sabine there. And heading through the Mercedes-Benz Grandstand. This start has been massively frenetic already, but the main story is Nightmare leads from W8 and Tom in second. The two rookies, the first time in the championship this season, they're off and in the lead. So let's take a look and see what happened. We're on board with the 42 car of big old Mish. Heading in towards turn number 1, we turn in. The Audi comes across the nose, a little bit of contact there, and it looks like a second hit is what put them round. So not quite sure who hit them there. Looking at W8 and Tom now as they head through turn number 1. Maybe this is going to reveal what happened. Mish goes sideways, Tom hits the front and spins him round. So it was a double tap effectively between Nightmare and Tom, and this is on board with Griffiths. Let's see what happened. Looked like it wasn't Sabine that tagged him, it was Vicious that tagged him as we head back onto the track. See what happens now. Oh, that's why the barrier moves. So Griffiths made contact with the barrier. Back with the leaders though, you've got Stug and Active getting in it already. Sabine's dropped down the order. He's got Woody, and it looks like his teammate behind him. Joey goes for a massive lunge around the outside. Woody goes for it as well. Sabine's going to hang on thanks to the two of them running wide. Active and Stug are getting into it in front of us. Joey's down the inside of his teammate. Fantastic move there. So Joey moves up the order. You wouldn't think these guys are teammates. They're racing just as hard as anyone else. But you've got Sabine now behind his teammate. These guys in theory could work together, but judging by the start of this race, I don't think that's going to happen. So Sabine now locked into the slipstream of his teammate in front of them though. Looks like Actim's going to go around the outside of Stug. This is a move for 5th place if it comes on. Off Actim takes a cutback line, tries to get the better drive out of that hairpin against the Chevrolet. Doesn't quite do it. The Be Wiser car is wiser to that move as they head through the final couple of corners. Will Actim fancy dive heading through this final set of corners? No, he thinks better of it. Behind though, you've got Joey getting into this fight as well. There's 3rd place Kraus, 2nd place Vicious, and then 5th and 6th is Stug and Actim. Heading in towards turn number 1. Actim moves towards the outside. Stug moves to the inside to defend. Stug runs a little bit wide. Actim's going to go down the inside. Joey's going to get into this one as well. They're going to be nearly 3 wide. Joey backs out of it, so it's 2 by 2 heading down into turn number 2. Stug on the outside, Actim on the inside with the championship leader. Get the position just about, but Joey's pushing him. Joey's pushing past Stug. Will this be a move for Joey to move up the order into 5th place? Side by side with Stug as they head down the main straight. Actim has got the position though and is up into 4th place. Stug though just holds on against the RS3. The RS3 goes very late on the brake. Stug comes across the nose, just about covers him off, but he's still on the inside. Joey is still there as they head towards the Mercedes-Benz Grandstand. Stug holds the inside line. Joey is still around the outside of the Chevrolet as they head through that couple of corners. On board with Joey now as they head through the through the complex. Before the next couple of corners, he's right in the back of that Chevrolet. You can see the damage that's picking up already. Joey takes the better line. Stug moves over to defend as they head through this fast right-hander into the complex of the stadium section. Joey just pushes him a little bit to get his nose down the outside. This is going to be the outside for this hairpin now. Will he be able to hold it around the outside? Stug just about has the legs on him, but Joey is still there. He gets the power down. He runs wide. He's using all of the curb, all of the road, using a little bit more to get past Stug, and he's got the move done. Heading into the final corner though, Stug comes down the inside to try and take the position back, but not quite. Joey just gets the position, but you can see all that battling has allowed Actim to clear off. In these touring cars that are so closely matched, any fighting like that could start losing you a couple of seconds to the guys in front, and you can see the battling has brought Woody and Dan Ziller into this fight as well. So what was a 3-car fight is now a 5-car fight as Joey's just in front of Stug. Stug has a quick look. Sabine looks around the outside of Stug, heading into the bottom hairpin of turn number 2. Sabine gets the inside line, gets the power down, and looks like Stug's about to lose another position here as Sabine throws it around the outside. Woody's coming down the inside as well now. Woody's got a good run in the Mercedes. He's down the inside of Sabine. He's got him done already. Under braking now. Danzilla throws it down the inside of the pair of them. He threw a stunning move at turn 1 at Monza. He's just done it again and caught 2 positions in 1 corner. Danzilla's still on the inside of Woody. Woody's not letting him go. Sabine is right in the back of the Mercedes, but Danzilla has got 2 positions once again in 1 corner. The 2 Mercedes though. Woody sweeps around the outside and has got back past Danzilla. He's right under the rear wing of Stug as they head in towards the stadium section. Fantastic racing from the AM class. You wouldn't think these guys is the AM class. You'd think this one is the pro, but no, we've got another grid of pro drivers still to come. So after that awesome move, Danzilla now has to try and defend from Sabine behind him. Woody's lost a little bit of ground to Stug. Back at the front, these two have been inseparable. Nightmare still leads on his first weekend in the World Touring Car Championship ahead of WA10 Tom. Tom's already finished second once today. He's going to want to go one better on board with the Carspun Chevrolet as we head through the Mercedes-Benz grandstand. The Audi, though, just about has the legs on the Chevrolet. The Chevrolet, though, is closing all of the time. Onto the back of that Audi, gets a better run through that corner there. He's going to close right up. Nightmare goes a little bit defensive. He moves over to the right-hand side as he head through this 4th gear corner. It's really easy for it to make a mistake. Tom piling on the pressure now into the complex of the stadium section. He moves to the outside. Nightmare goes a little bit defensive, runs a little bit of curb. The Chevrolet's going to get a slightly better run through this corner using all of the grass and a little bit more. Vicious now coming under pressure from Joey behind him. He's lost ground to the Chevrolet of Griffiths. He's cleared off into the distance now. Joey round the inside of Vicious. He's already got the move done heading into the grandstand complex. Actim, those not too far behind. Vicious runs a little bit wide. Is that going to allow the Honda of Actim, who we're on board with now, to close right up to the back of him? Yes, it is. He's right in the slipstream. He's closing really quickly. Vicious must have a problem with that car. Actim's chucked it down the inside. He's shown the nose. He's got the position already. A little bit of contact, but Actim slid wide. Vicious has got the run around the outside of the corner. Actim's not going to let him have it. He gets across the nose before they head into the turning point. And Actim takes the position. Vicious is starting to fall down the order. There must be a problem with that Honda. He's nowhere near as quick as Actim in front of him. Actim's already got a couple of tenths gap. Vicious is sideways. No wonder he's losing time if he's that sideways. He's chickened out of that corner. So Sabine, Woody, Mish on a recovery drive. Having had that contact at the start, Mish is trying to get as far up the order as he can now. Woody, though, locked under the rear wing of Sabine in the RS3 in front. As they head across the start-finish line, there is absolutely nothing between them. Woody is closing. Is he going to fancy dive into turn number 1? Sabine takes a nice tight line, uses all the curb and a little bit more on the exit. But Woody got an even better exit. He's down the inside. He's already got past the RS3, heading into the braking zone. But Sabine, late on the brakes, gets a late turn in. He's going to try and get the cut back. He's going to try and go around the outside of the Mercedes now. Need to be careful, otherwise this is going to bring Mish into this fight. Sabine needs to get past Woody quickly, otherwise that Mercedes of Mish is going to drag him straight into this fight. Sabine, though, has got in front of the Mercedes just about. Heading into the braking zone, Mish is right on the rear bumper. He sends it around the outside of Sabine. Contact, though, between Sabine and Woody. Mish might have a chance at this one. He's down the inside of Sabine into the next corner to Mercedes-Benz ahead of an Audi RS3. It's an Audi RS3 sandwich now. It's Mercedes, Audi, Mercedes. Sabine we're on board with right now, trying to get past Woody, trying to get up the order. He had a decent grid position, but he's not got that RS3 working today. This, though, to fight for the lead. It's going down to the final couple of corners. Nightmare versus WA10 Tom. Nightmare coming through the final couple of corners. He just takes a nice defensive line. That Chevrolet might get a better run out of this corner. This is where the Chevrolet's strong, but it looks like the S3 driver's just done enough to hang on and get in front of that Chevrolet. The Chevrolet uses all of the grass to try and get as good a run as possible. Brunny's debut in the championship, his first day in the championship, the first win for the Audi S3, the first win for Nightmare. He comes across the line to take victory for the 3rd round of the night. Round 6 the championship goes the way of Nightmare in the Audi S3. Second place, the second time tonight, is going to go the way of WA10 Tom. TRAC Kraus rounds out the podium in 3rd place. Joey comes home 4th. Championship leader Actim in 5th. Sabine comes home 6th. Mish recovers to 7th after that contact at the start. 8th is Woody. 9th is TRAC Stug. ORB Danzilla, after that fantastic move at the start, dropped back down to 10th place. TRAC Vicious rounds out the runners in 11th. And classified as 12th is a DNF is Griffiths in the final Chevrolet. So, after 3 action-packed races, the championship looks like this. Actim holds the lead by 7 points on 268 points ahead of TRAC Stug in second. Kraus is on 256 with Woody just a further point behind, moving up to 4th place. Sabine moves down to 5th with W8 and Tom after his pair of second places, ties with Sabine for 5th place. Down to 7th place on 245 is Vicious, Track Joey in 8th. Danzilla rounds out the top 9 on 226 with Griffiths on 212. Mish just into the 200 points marks, sits in 11th, while 12th is Mad Dingo after withdrawing from race 2 and race 3. So the next time that we see the AM drivers is going to be when we head to Mugello, Italy for week 3 of the championship. If you like what you see and you want to see some more, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on the next video.